Hi, I'm Wendy Turner, Executive Director of Michigan Public. You might have heard that public media is under threat. You're not wrong. But I come to tell you that your voice has power. Visit protectmypublicmedia.org, contact your lawmakers, and take a stand today.
From Michigan Public, this is It's Just Politics. I'm Zoe Clark.
And I'm Rick Pluta.
The It's Complicated relationship between Governor Gretchen Whitmer and President Donald Trump was on full display yet again this week.
All the moments between these two of late have been awkward.
This time in Michigan, as the president came to announce a new fighter jet mission for Selfridge Air National Guard Base.
I mean, all of this is so strange and so unusual, and you have no idea what's going to happen at the next moment.
An event that Whitmer attended and spoke at.
And then a first 100-day rally in Macomb County that Whitmer did not attend.
And it's really a drama that a lot of people in the state of Michigan are very interested in.
So let's start with what we know about the economic impact of the first announcement and then the politics of the second, this fascinatingly transactional alliance.
I spoke earlier today with the governor, and before we got into her relationship with the president, I asked her why this Selfridge announcement matters to Michigan.
Yeah, this is a big deal. So the A-10, which is our fighter mission at Selfridge, is being retired. And the fighter mission matters because we think about Selfridge. It has an economic impact on the state of $850 million a year. There are 30,000 jobs in Michigan that are related to Selfridge directly. And so not having a fighter mission would be a huge problem, not just for Selfridge, but for a defense economy that we've been building out, advanced manufacturing. We think about aerospace as well as bases in Grayling, Alpena, and in Battle Creek. This has massive impact to the state of Michigan. So I've been working to try to get a new fighter mission at Selfridge every year since I've been elected governor, and my predecessors did as well, and we got it done. 21 F-15EXs. This is the cutting-edge, state-of-the-art planes, and it's going to have a generational impact on our economy.
How did this come to be? Why now?
Well, after the election, I had been trying to get the Biden administration to do this. After the election, I said, well, let's keep going. I'm going to keep trying to work with the Trump administration to get it done. And I was at the National Governors Association dinner at the White House. I raised it in that first opportunity with Secretary Hegseth that night, as well as when I sat next to Donald Trump at the dinner, and I've had many conversations and meetings with the president on this issue. I've been relentless on this, and they were receptive. And despite the fact that we got a lot of differences and we don't agree on a lot of things, I take every opportunity to make the case for Michigan, whether it's about tariffs, Asian carp, or ice storms. Selfridge has been a part of all those conversations every time, too.
Are you at all concerned that this decision could get reversed? It's not like we haven't seen this president change his mind before.
Well, you know what? The president has been consistent in terms of making this a priority, coming to Selfridge, making the announcement, with Republican leadership standing by him. I'm confident that this is a long-term investment that they are committed to for Michigan, and I'm grateful for it. It's why I showed up. It's why I worked so hard to get us to this point. But I also recognize this is, I think, an important moment for Michigan, and it's a strong commitment.
As you mentioned, you've said you will work with everyone, anyone, but you have gotten a lot of pushback from folks within the Democratic Party about your work with this president. Now that this Selfridge deal is done, what's next? What are your plans for continuing to work with this administration?
Well, listen, Rick, I oppose this administration on a lot of things that they're doing, whether it's around what they've done it's voluminous, the ways that we disagree, the things that we disagree on, from their tariff policy, the chaos that's been wreaked, to the violation of people's civil rights, to the potential Medicaid cuts that are coming that are going to impact Michigan hospitals and Michiganders everywhere. That being said, I've got a duty to continue to try to get as much done for our state as I can. I got to work with people that I don't always agree on. I always have, and I always will try to do what's right for Michigan, and that means continuing the conversation on preventing Asian carp from infiltrating the Great Lakes, getting relief for victims of the ice storm, It means continuing to work to try to get more economic development done in Michigan. So I will both fight back when I need to and try to get Michigan's priorities done wherever I can.
Finally, Governor, do you think Democratic voters, that is, voters in your party, know that you still fundamentally disagree with President Trump?
Yeah, of course they do. My values haven't changed. My oath is to serve the people of Michigan. It means standing up for our rights. It means fighting back when they've got tariff policies that, are making Michiganders lose jobs or our costs go up. It also means getting at the table and being there to get a huge investment like Selfridge over the finish line. I can do both. I will do both. That's the ethos I've always led with.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer, thanks so much.
Thank you.
So let's turn to Craig Mauger, politics reporter at the Detroit News, to unpack this all. Craig, hey.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's dig in. Earlier this month, there is this image that goes viral. Whitmer in the Oval Office hiding her face. Superimpose that now with these images from yesterday, where Whitmer is standing on the stage with President Donald Trump.
It's quite a situation, isn't it? I mean, it's quite a political dynamic. Governor Whitmer has long believed, for all of the rhetoric and all the things she has previously said about the president, Governor Whitmer has always said her focus is kitchen table issues. I mean, that's what her campaign thing has been for so long. And I think she is here trying to figure out how she can score wins for Michigan while working with this Republican president who most people in her party despise. It's a very tricky calculation she's got to make, very difficult navigation for her. And she's made this decision that she is going to subtly criticize the Trump administration on some things, but also show up with him, try to work with him, and try to score some victories for Michigan, whose economy needs victories very, very badly right now.
Craig, I'm so curious. I mean, all of us have covered this governor for so long, but one thing I haven't been able to put my finger on is, do we think this is sort of a day-to-day, week by week, just hold on strategy, or is this, ever since November, a conscious decision to sort of lean in?
I think it's a decision to try to lean in. I mean, the governor has not said that to me, hey, this is our strategy, we're going to try to lean in. But if you talk to Democrats in Lansing, the belief is among Democrats in the legislature is that the governor needs some very specific things from the Trump administration. And she knows that if she criticizes the president too much, she will not get those things. That's the approach that her fellow Democrats believe she is taking. You have this jet mission at Selfridge. And then you have this even bigger deal, which is this semiconductor project in Mundy Township that could employ 10,000 people if it gets the approval of the Trump administration and the Commerce Department. The governor has been pushing behind closed doors in D.C. for this project. It's been one of her top priorities. If Donald Trump, the president, continues to say nice things about her, if she continues to work with him, you would think that the chances of that project being greenlit are higher. But that's the gamble she keeps making. When she went to D.C. and stood in the Oval Office, as the president signed a number of executive actions that really went against everything the governor stands for, and she didn't say anything in that moment, she didn't walk out, the gamble was, hey, I'm going to try to get these things for Michigan by not speaking out about this too loudly. Starting to pay off. I mean, you can't, I said at the moment, the gamble is she either gets these things or not. Maybe this pays off if she gets these things. And she's got a jet mission at Selfridge that could keep that base open for longer. Will she get some of these other things? Mm-hmm. We'll watch and see.
Yeah, there seemed to be this almost perfect symbolic moment on the tarmac, that awkward meeting of Trump and Whitmer, and that sort of, we're not even sure it was a lean-in handshake or kind of a hug.
Yeah, I mean, they're all awkward moments, aren't they? All the moments between these two of late have been awkward. Her standing by the door, kind of looking like maybe she's thinking about walking out the door when she's in the Oval Office. Her standing there at Selfridge yesterday and then going to the microphone and saying, I didn't know I was going to be speaking at this event. It's like, really, you're the governor. You didn't know that maybe you'd have to give some remarks. You didn't have something prepared. I mean, it's all very, very strange. it's very strange that President Trump has said so many positive things about her when in 2024 on the campaign trail, he was constantly criticizing her. When you think about the fact that the people running the White House, his chief of staff and his deputy chief of staff, both worked on the campaign of Tudor Dixon, who tried to unseat Governor Whitmer. I mean, all of this is so strange and so unusual, and you have no idea what's going to happen at the next moment. And it's really a drama that a lot of people in the state of Michigan are very interested in. I get so much feedback from readers who want to know what's going on here. And I think that's one thing the national media is kind of missing out on. There's a lot of people in Michigan that do want the governor to work with President Trump and try to achieve things for Michigan. There are other people who are upset about what she's doing, but there is a contingent that's very happy about this.
Well, let's talk about the contingent that isn't happy about this. And
Yeah.
I think some of the folks that are the ones who are asking all of us, like, what is going on? We heard Whitmer there. Rick asked her, right, about her willingness to work with everyone. This is sort of the new line that she's going to work with anybody, even folks she doesn't agree, to help Michiganders. But this is not necessarily going over well with the progressive wing of her party.
No, and it's not going over well with a lot of the, Democratic primary electorate out there who will decide if she wants to be president one day, who the next presidential nominee is for Democrats. I mean, she's got to thread this needle if that's where she wants to be in the White House. We don't know if that's where she wants to be. She's going to have to prove to these voters to say, hey, I don't agree with a lot of the things the president was doing, but I made a decision to do the best for my state, to work with people. And basically, she said she's going to work with anybody if it achieves things for Michigan. I mean, there are a lot of Democratic lawmakers in Lansing. I'm looking at the Capitol building out my window right now, who will whisper to reporters or say things like, I have no idea what the governor is up to. Mm-hmm. Like, I have no idea why she's doing this. There's some faction that have just utter disbelief in what she's been doing of late. But again, if it leads to positive gains for Michigan, she has the higher ground in these arguments to say, if I didn't do this, Michigan would not have gotten these things. I mean, that's how I think pivotal and important what happened yesterday for the governor is.
And when we talk about strategy, I've talked to a lot of folks in D.C. where I wonder that her audience these days is not those lawmakers that you can see from the state capitol, totally. Right? It's those independent voters, and it's a nationwide audience right now.
I think that's right. And I think it's also her legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, she has I think she is increasingly thinking, what is her ultimate legacy as governor going to be? Landing some of these economic development projects for Michigan will be things that she's going to be either remembered for or criticized for a very long time. We've seen her here in the final 2 years of her second term return to this road funding idea. She ran on fixing the roads, and now she's trying to do something here at the end so she can say, look, I achieved what was my campaign motto the first time I ran. I mean, I think you're seeing the governor trying to close some deals here at the end that will shape her legacy, and I think that's on her mind as much as her future in politics.
This is Craig Mauger. We are speaking to friend of It's Just Politics reporter at the Detroit News. So, Craig, let's turn to the Trump visit. After this Selfridge address where Whitmer took the stage, he then took to a different location, Macomb County, for this first 100-day rally. You were there. What'd we hear?
When we heard a lot of the same things we heard on the campaign trail, it was kind of surreal standing there in the back being like, is this the campaign that never ended? I mean, you heard the president criticizing former President Joe Biden, polling the audience on whether he should call Biden Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe. I mean, those were things that he often did during the campaign in 2024. I mean, this is Trump out there defending his actions over his first 100 days. You heard him talk about tariffs. I mean, that's the major issue in Michigan right now with our reliance on the auto industry. You heard him say that he was give some auto manufacturers a little bit of a break on the 25% tariffs on auto parts, and basically saying he's going to give them some time. And if they don't move these operations to the U.S., back to the U.S., he's going to, quote, slaughter these companies. I mean, that was an amazing moment, but it was a lot of the same. I mean, it was a lot of what you've heard, even to the point of some of the people that he invited on stage, Brian Pannybecker, the former auto worker that was a staple of every rally just about in Michigan in 2024. He was invited back on stage. A lot of the same beats, a little bit of a smaller crowd. I mean, that's something that people can't deny. The crowd was smaller, but it was very familiar, a lot of it.
Craig, there are a ton now of Republican candidates who have announced for
Yes.
statewide seats in 2026, governor, U.S. Senate. These rallies are always an opportunity for candidates to, sort of play to the crowd, try and get a shout out from the president. Who is there? What we hear vis-a-vis sort of this next midterm election in Michigan that's going to take up so much oxygen?
I mean, that's the it's just politics bread and butter question right there. I was hoping you were looking in these weeds. What does it all mean? There was a lot of weeds tea leaves to read last night. John James, Trump told the members of the Republican congressional delegation, don't come to this rally.
Right.
There are important votes in D.C. to take. And you've got John James getting on a commercial flight from D.C., flying to Detroit Metro, and basically racing to this rally so he could make it, and then going back on a commercial flight to D.C. after it. James is, of course, running for governor. He hopes to get President Trump's endorsement. There was no endorsement last night. There was a mention of John James. Trump thanked him for coming. U.S. Senate candidate Mike Rogers was there. Trump said very little about Mike Rogers. He might have mentioned him once, kind of in passing. That was notable. All of this is fascinating to watch because there are these dueling dynamics here where there are people in the U.S. House where Republicans have a very small majority who may or may not get in these key races in Michigan. And Trump can't either, one, alienate them in the case of Bill Huizenga, who might run against Mike Rogers for the Republican nomination. If Trump endorsed Rogers, he could lose Huizenga's vote on some key issues in D.C. If Trump endorses James too early, maybe he lets James off the hook on some key votes in D.C. So when you're looking at this, that's all playing into this. It's really a fascinating dance to watch play out here.
It really is fascinating. Now, finally, we also have to bring into this Republican House Speaker, Michigan House Speaker Matt Hall, who was also at the Selfridge announcement and really tying himself closely to this president. He was even at that Oval Office visit with Whitmer earlier this month. What do we know about the Hall-Trump relationship and what it might mean for Michigan?
I mean, it seems very positive for Hall right now. Trump gave him a shout out at the rally last night, and I had one Republican say to me that he thought Hall got the biggest applause of any Republican from Michigan that Trump mentioned, which is kind of fascinating. I mean, this was a guy who was just a regular member of the state house a few years ago, a minority leader, in the last term, and now he's really catching fire with the base of the Republican Party that loves Donald Trump. He
sure
emulates Trump in a lot of his speaking habits. And now you're seeing Trump shout him out, invite him to the Oval Office. He's going to play an increasing role in Michigan politics, I think, going forward.
Craig Mauger, politics reporter at the Detroit News. We will be watching all of that moving forward. Craig, thanks so much for the time today.
Thanks, Craig.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And a reminder, if you miss any It's Just Politics, you can find us on the podcast. Download the It's Just Politics podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And that is It's Just Politics for today. I am Zoe Clark.
And I'm Rick Pluta.
Let's talk again next week.